Here we are with the Homeschool Planning Starter Pack from day one, and we're going to move right down through to the Notice of Intent record, which is one of my favorite resources. It just helps you keep track of whether you're following the law for each of your children. So here you would list the names of all your children and then figure out the school year that the Notice of Intent is required. So we talked about that in the previous video. You can use the flow chart to figure out if your child has reached compulsory age. And that is the time when the Notice of Intent is required. So you have the school year, say 2025-26 here, which is the school year that a Notice of Intent is required for your child. And then you can write here the date that you actually sent the Notice of Intent. And of course, you would keep that on record. Here, you can list termination notices. So if you moved or one of your children graduated, you can put the notice of termination that you sent it to the county. And if you moved, you send it to the next county. And it just gives you a Notice of Intent record, which is especially helpful if you have several children who are young. So if you're starting to homeschool your oldest child because they are now of compulsory age or reaching kindergarten, and you've got several children coming in behind, this is an ideal record for just knowing when do I have to send it and did I send it. Let's just take briefly look at the other things that are here. Here is the Notice of Intent. This is the compulsory flow chart. We used both of those resources in the previous video. We talked about the 5 required subjects when we talked about the Notice of Intent. And here's just a form, optional, of course, that will allow you to look at those 5 subjects and have a plan for what you're going to do. If you're wondering, what do I mean by a plan? Then this next page just gives a sample. So, of course, this would vary by age and grade level, but this is just a sample of a very loose plan for each of the 5 subjects. And it just gives you, okay, here's what I'm planning to do. This is what I'm going to build on. We already referred to this page, which has scriptures on the sidebar here, and then prayers that you can pray for your homeschooling, and maybe other scriptures that are encouraging you. We also talked about this form where you can write down your reason for homeschooling, your vision for homeschooling, your priorities, and your goals for the year. This can be a great resource to come back to in some of those days where you're a little bit discouraged, and we all have those. This is another type of page that can be used for a course of study. It allows you to have more subjects listed than the 5 required. Of course, there are many other subjects, music, art, those kinds of things that you might be studying as well. And this is the more practical, not just those 5 required subjects, but other things that you might be doing, including character and life skills. And if this helps, this is just a yearly plan where you can write down specific things that you want to remember on each of the days, and then take a look just in one fell swoop. You can look at the entire year and sort of have an idea if you have a field trip scheduled on a certain day, or you're really wanting to watch a video on a certain day, or whatever it is. You want to celebrate the birthday of West Virginia on June 20th. And so you write it down here just to remember. And so it gives you an overview of the year. Again, these are all just optional resources that might or might not help you. And then there's the extracurricular record, and especially in high school, this can be useful, but any year. And anytime you take a field trip, if you work on a project, or actually your child does, volunteer things that they do. They volunteer at the Troop Conference or that type of thing, as sports that they're participating in, music lessons that they take. If it's not part of what you're actually doing in school, it's not part of your school curriculum, then you can list it here, the dates that it was applicable, and any notes that you want to put here. Just gives you a nice record. There are other member resources that CHUV has. There are other forms that we have available. Most of them are member resources, so you have to be a CHUV member in order to have access. But this is a great resource here, the annual assessment tracker. There is a daily planner, students' daily assignments, weekly lesson planners, activity planning pages, a form to use to list the books read in a particular year, a book report template, and a high school packet. So all of those resources are available for chief leavers. This is just the one that we offer absolutely free for everyone who's starting to homeschool.